The Russo-Japanese War of 1904 to 1905 marked the first time an Asian power defeated a European power in modern warfare, and its opening engagement, the Siege of Port Arthur, set the tone for the conflict. Situated on the Liaodong Peninsula in northeastern China, Port Arthur was a vital naval base for the Russian Empire in the Pacific, and its control was central to the growing tensions between Russia and Japan over dominance in Manchuria and Korea. Causes of the conflict. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, both Russia and Japan sought to expand their influence in East Asia. Russia, eager to secure a warm water port, leased Port Arthur from China in 1898 and fortified it as a key naval base. Japan, a rapidly modernizing empire, viewed Russia's expansion into Manchuria and Korea as a direct threat to its own ambitions in the region. Diplomatic negotiations over spheres of influence failed, and by early 1904, Japan had decided to take military action. Japan's surprise attack. On the night of February 8, 1904, Japan launched a surprise attack on the Russian fleet anchored at Port Arthur, before any formal declaration of war had been made. Japanese destroyers struck the Russian fleet with torpedoes, damaging several battleships. This was followed by a blockade of Port Arthur, marking the beginning of the war. Japan's strategy was to cripple Russia's Pacific Squadron and cut off its supply lines, giving Japan dominance at sea. The Siege of Port Arthur. After the initial naval assault, Japanese ground forces under General Mersuke Nogi launched a siege on Port Arthur in August 1904. The siege lasted for several months, with intense trench warfare and costly frontal assaults by the Japanese against the heavily fortified Russian positions. Despite suffering heavy casualties, Japanese forces gradually gained the upper hand through relentless pressure and superior artillery. By December 1904, the situation for the Russians became untenable. Their defenses were worn down, and the Russian Pacific Fleet had been largely destroyed or trapped in the harbor. On January 2, 1905, Russian Commander General Anatoly Stessel surrendered Port Arthur to the Japanese, a major blow to Russian morale and military capability. Strategic and symbolic importance. The fall of Port Arthur was a turning point in the war. It signaled Japan's growing military prowess and highlighted the vulnerability of the Russian Empire's overstretched ambitions in Asia. The siege also showcased the effectiveness of modern warfare tactics, such as trench warfare and artillery bombardments, which would be seen again on a larger scale in World War I. Conclusion. The Siege of Port Arthur was a decisive early battle in the Russo-Japanese War, demonstrating Japan's determination and military modernization. The fall of the strategically vital base dealt a significant blow to Russia's Pacific ambitions, contributing to Japan's eventual victory in the war and solidifying its status as a rising power on the global stage.